Okay, Cancer, this is just a quick reading for you, and this is for the month of June. Um, when I first look at this card, and of course I did post some clarifiers below here as well, things sort of look like they're moving in a particular direction of positivity. However, when I get to the end cards here, it looks as though there is something that you need to be a little cautious about in regards to a matter of the heart. So some kind of a connection. And short, I'm just going to go through this. Again, this is not going to resonate for all of you. It's just going to be more specific to the few. But I will say that for those that it does resonate for, certainly looks as though this is a long-term connection of some sort. And it certainly looks as though it's been through some trials and tribulations here with the moon card, but it also indicates that there could have been some kind of an end. But it certainly looks as though you still need to be very cautious in going forward with this particular situation, because it may still have some elements here that are not yet fully fleshed out or resolved, or something that might still yet come to light that could interfere. So we'll just start out here with, I mean, certainly the proposal and the love card and marriage, it's all definitely around some kind of a connection that's quite significant to you. But as I said, I mean, proposal does indicate that this is some kind of an opportunity to regain some stability in a particular situation or a love connection again. So it does indicate to me that there is some kind of, new connection, reconnection to that. So it feels like a new connection, but to me, it's somebody that you've known for some time. So either way, this looks like a reconciliation of some sort that's coming through in the month of June. So whether this is a lost love or something that you let go in the past, it looks like it's coming back around. Again, there's still some reserve around this because there is something not yet clear. So just be cautious in opening up your heart, that kind of thing. What it does indicate, though, that there is, some, I mean, in terms of it, even in terms of money, although I really have to say that the whole reading looks as though it is more along the lines of relationship. I mean, just every card pretty much here that kind of stands out so for me on that level. But I mean, if we are talking about this in terms of finance, it certainly would indicate that there is some sense of a new project underway here. So something that you're going to connect with that is going to help you to gain some money, or a money making idea, something like that, that is coming into your sphere, coming into your awareness. When we get to the card of love, like I said, I mean, there's certainly some very strong connections, some strong passion toward this passion project or whatever it is here. But it is something that's more of a very electric kind of connection. So this is somebody that could certainly make some major changes in your life, or prompt you to, make significant changes because you're very tempted by one another, that kind of thing. But it certainly is indicating that there is some kind of strong love interest here that you are reevaluating. So anyway, it also indicates as well, because of the number of cards here, I would even say this is, whether you believe it as, a soul connection, or could be karmic connection, but there's definitely something here that underlays with a very lifelong commitment. And if it is a karmic connection, it doesn't mean that it's the perfect love. It means it's the imperfect love that is, you're there to learn lessons from one another and so on. And certainly if this is the ideal love connection, I mean, you would be learning that journey together, despite the obstacles, and there's more respect involved in all of that. But in this particular situation, like I said, it almost feels like there could be kind of a karmic connection, because there's a lot of cards here of, things not yet being brought to light, something still being hidden. And there's certainly a card of, be wary of something, because there's something not yet known to you. So whether or not this is, in a reconciliation situation, somebody who's maybe connected with somebody else and hasn't quite finished that situation up, or whether it is, somebody is holding back on telling you the truth about something, something along that line, anything really that kind of veers in the way of, reserve, not to jump right in there. So again, this is almost, um, with the celebrations, it's almost like you're reconnecting with this person at some kind of a, I don't want to say party or gathering, but it's almost like there's something where there's more than, just yourself and this person that's bringing the connection together. There is a warning here as well to slow things down, because as eager as you are to move ahead in this particular direction, it looks like there is a reason for you to really pull back for a minute and just watch and sit with it and see what is not being revealed. It does make you very happy for this reconnection. It certainly does give you an idea that there is some, solution to a part of your void, your life, or a void that, has been maybe consuming you here as well, certainly with that moon card. But again, listen to your intuition, because there's something that's not quite right about this situation. And this is just giving you a little bit of a heads up. So don't ignore the warning, because it means something is going to reveal itself if you pay attention. So I would kind of look at it like allow the other person to play their part in the situation, but assess rather than indulge. You know what I mean? Anyway, it does indicate that there is, a lot of intensity here and a lot of deep feelings as well, again, with the moon card. It certainly does speak to, the connection does nourish a part of your soul, your heart. As I said, this is still it's a connection that does allow you to grow, but again, growing in what way? Because the Beware card here tells me that there's still something that is not, maybe that both parties haven't really resolved something and able to move ahead in some way. If there's not been some level of, devotion is one thing, but it's another thing to have a lack of communication not resolving, heart space. Having someone in your heart does not mean that you have the ability to reconnect beyond that heart space. So when real life's problems get in the way, money and so forth, that's when it's a real test of the situation, whether or not there is support there. So these are the things you also really want to consider. So whatever that moon is, even though there's a depth of feeling, there are a lot of other issues here that have not yet been addressed. And how would you address them? What's the step 1, 2, 3, or ABC, whatever, that could move it ahead versus another ending in some way? So anyway, this is a card of just being careful. Like I said, it does speak to some heartfelt wish coming true here, but I still feel like there's an element of the timing not being quite right. The situation or the problems that were there before haven't really gone away, because nobody's approaching it any differently. There's maybe not been enough growth for there to be an understanding or a mutual respect or something along that line. Like I said, it will be different for each of you, but there's just something there that still needs to be worked through. The coffin, of course, is again having waited to hear from somebody for so long, and it does feel like it did have kind of a natural end here. But as I said, it feels like if it was on hold for some time, it also feels like there was a sense of feeling trapped by this love as well. Emotionally not feeling very bound, or, it really weighed heavy on your heart, and it was maybe a little bit overwhelming, or things felt like it was out of control. You didn't emotionally feel like you were in control, something along that line, because there is a sense of it kind of just slipped away before you were able to know what really happened there. Or maybe something got in the way that didn't allow you to really understand how it all came to this big conclusion. The card of the celebration, like I said, I feel like there is a group of people that are going to be getting involved here or bringing you together, whether it's an actual gathering or not. There's some kind of connection that brings about this change with other people's involvement. So, like I said, I mean, there is something here that feels like, love and reunion. But again, and maybe it feels good in the moment to be in this space, but you really want to know what that beware card's all about. So that's why I'm saying I think for the most part, it's good to be, in this space, and it's good to feel the positive emotions, but you still want to, don't allow the feelings to misdirect you from whatever the real issues were. So it is a warning card again, whether it's, whatever that level of danger is for you, it's going to be different for all of you. But there is something here that is going to be either an emotional dependence, and that's maybe not really what you're looking for. Emotional dependence is not one person completes the other. It's, two people being independent and loving one another is the ideal in a lot of, in a lot of circumstances. So it's more along that line, bringing out the best in one another and so on. This could also be a card of addictions or something. It's not quite the devil card, but it could be an underlying depression or I don't want to say toxicity. It's maybe not toxicity, but it certainly could be kind of a stormy affair here as well. Maybe there was something involved that could have been drinking or drugs or anything along that line, or maybe just a lot of heavier emotions that were draining and created a dependence on one another. Again, that beware card is different for all of you, but it's just a note to be careful and take some time and care and make sure that your confidence is strong enough going forward, so as not to complete a cycle, to repeat the cycle, because as I said, it looks as though it had some kind of an end, and it was certainly something that was quite deeply painful for you. And whatever this is with the marriage card, it does look like, there could have been other people that were involved, which led to a certain level of toxicity here as well. And whether this is temptation because of third party involvement or whatever, it certainly still speaks to there is still some kind of connection, something here to work with. So again, it's not jumping into things blindly, but certainly being aware that, whatever this emotional fulfillment was that was long-term, was deeply felt, was a very strong union of sorts here. Just remember that there was something that was a little bit toxic here as well, that is just, again, something that you desire comes with a warning. So, yeah, I just want to leave it there. Maybe I'll pull another card here just to get an idea of whether or not, because again, growth really depends on whether or not both parties have grown enough in a relationship and have enough respect for one another. So if a toxic moment does arise, can you work through it together, or is this something that is just a blow-up situation? So that's not resolving anything. But anyway, let's just, I only have the one hand here, so I'm just going to, what is the beware card about? What is the beware card about? Okay, we'll go with that one. There's a level of indecision or stagnancy. Maybe somebody's not willing to maybe compromise or negotiate in a situation. There could be some level of indecision here, but it looks like it was a harsh situation. Anyway, what is that beware card? Oh, okay, there was a lot of conflict in this situation verbally. Doesn't look like anybody really won. Nobody had any real advantage. It looks like it hurt both parties, and to me, that stalemate energy kind of leaves me with the feeling that nobody's really grown enough to advance this situation. So this is where, choices come in about going through counseling or, reading some books on connections, being confident with oneself to be able to move forward, and let the other person catch up in growth, or you both grow together, or there's communication issues. It does look like there could be or needs to be some other involvement as far as to bring this together. But let me just pull one more. What is that beware card? What's the warning? What is the warning? There's a lot of confusion still around this situation, this connection. There is no distinct answer, I would say, at this time for you to be able to... What is the best advice? What's the advice? There's a lot of flirty energy going on there with the Knight of Wands. So I would say overall, I'll just pull it over this way here. I mean, overall, like I say, there's a certain level of stagnancy and there's still a lot of confusion. So it's like a lot of the issues aren't really resolved here. I would say that this is going to, because there's so much that's still that's not worked through, it does almost look like there has to be either some degree of not just a discussion, because sometimes people don't have the answers to why they did something, because it's a growth pattern for them as well. So, fear and all of those things come into play, patterns, old habits, whatever. It's not necessarily against the other person. It's just where they're at in their phase of development in a particular area. Everybody comes with their own level of fear and own level of restrictions. So again, it takes time to overcome that. But again, that comes from, you need other experiences, or you need other involvement, other advice, other, books, or counseling, YouTube, wherever it is that you're getting your information. It's still something to be, a level of discernment. Not everything is ideal for your circumstance, but what I would say is it's not a bad idea to look at some of the ways that you can explore the unresolved issues, not 100 at a time, but one at a time. Really slow it down, and that's why the Patience card came out here. Really slow it down so that you really have a handle, or more of a handle, on how you proceed forward, because that Seven of Cups is, it's a big decision is coming here, and that's what that Two of Swords is. This is really like a choice of some sort here that, is causing you a little bit of angst, because you're not really sure, should I go forward, because I feel I was hurt and I was, not able to deal with the situation. So is this really something I want to repeat? And again, I mean, if a person hasn't really made any strides to advance, feel more confident, both of you really have to come together and feel more confident. And so that only comes from doing work internally. And it usually takes a number of years and a number of triggers before you kind of work your way through those scenarios. But again, what do you do to pull back and sort of find your space and reground again, so that you can, go into the situation with more of a healthier, logical response? Our initial response would be to overreact if we have not dealt with our own level of self-worth issues and all of that. Like I say, that Five of Swords means that there's going to be some battles here, or there has been. Whether this is one person's been more self-centered, the other person's been, betrayed, whatever. There could be back and forth conflict either way, but it's, nobody's really won here. This is that sabotaging kind of energy. There could have been a third party involvement here as well for some, but it just looks like there's too much for someone to... It looks like somebody's not willing to compromise, especially when I see the Knight of Wands here. So this could be a younger person, 20s, 30s, that kind of thing, that is in this situation. But again, there's a lot of flirty energy here, where somebody's kind of coming in and out, not really trusting the situation, doesn't really want to look back. They want to look forward. They want to get on with something here. It's kind of that energy of they're pushing forward, but in a way that it's more, uh, like I said, sort of a couple of steps forward and then another step back. So they're thinking more quickly in terms of love and discussions and, that kind of thing. But there's also so much argument over here. I just don't know that both parties look like they're really willing and able to take it to the next level, without some kind of risk or heartbreak continuing. There is a lot of emotion here, and there certainly is a lot of connection. But again, it still boils down to what were the issues and what have each part of that relationship done to, um, kind of plateau beyond that, or get over that and go beyond the plateau. I guess that's maybe the better way of saying it, because it feels like there's just some stymied energy over here. So, I mean, there is a fiery nature, a lot of passion between the two of you, and I would say there's a lot of enthusiasm to even achieve a goal, or pursue a goal. But there's been a lot of difficulty in moving something forward anyway, either way. And like I say, for the most part, I feel this is romance. But I mean, if we were kind of veering it toward even an ambition, it still feels like it's moving in that same direction where you might even meet somebody at work, and that attraction is, it still feels like it's somebody that you've met before. But anyway, either way, that Seven of Cups, like I say, there's a lot of confusion. It may be that, you've got options, somebody else has got some options, but it feels like you're just not able to deal with the emotional aspect of it at this time. Knight of Wands, like I say, you're still in that energy of trying to move ahead and not move backward. But it's kind of still flirty energy. Like I said, it's, wanting to keep moving forward, just wanting to keep moving forward. But again, there's maybe too much risk for you to do that at this time. So that could be why you're being asked to be patient and slow it down, because there may not be enough growth here. Yeah. So like I said, it just feels like there's a period here where things are hovering in a bit of, I don't want to say stagnation exactly, but it's almost like you need to slow it down to be able to gain some ground, to really see what you're working with. How much has this person grown? What really is going to be the best solution to go forward? Are both parties willing to, mutually give and take and grow despite the obstacles, that kind of thing? But it has to be respectful for it to grow. If it's not respectful, then, you're looking at a situation where it's one person moving ahead and the other person is just continually trying to overcompensate for another part of the relationship. So anyway, that's just my little tidbit on it. Take it, don't take it. Either way, that's what I have for you for the month of June. I'll do another one for you here, more career, money, finance based. This one would seem to be more along the relationship area of things, and but I felt like I needed to put it out there for you. So again, just general energy. It's nothing that is written in stone. Energy is always malleable, something you can change depending on your situation. But certainly it's just a cautionary tale to, really step back and take a look at what you're looking at. Don't be too caught up in the reconnection and the reunion and the excitement without having considered what's changed, what's different, how have you changed, and how has the other person changed, and what are the goals and the values that you do connect on versus, the things that you don't connect on, and how would you approach, conflict going forward, and those same issues that were, currently kind of swept away, so they wouldn't be resolved at this point, because it's clearly that there's still some things that are below the surface. But to deal with them sort of one at a time, what tools would you have to kind of work through it? Anyway, that's what I have for you, and keep moving forward. Never give up, and remember who you are.